I've been walking through the noise, chasing every echoed voice, every answer fading like the dawn. I was reaching for the sky with 1,000 reasons why, but my heart was still so far from home. Every road I tried to pave only led me to the same old place, where my questions fill the air like rain. So I fell down to my knees, whispered through the quiet breeze, are you there? Will you explain? If you're the Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end, then you see the doubts inside me and the places I won't bend. So I'm coming to you, God, with my questions, not afraid of what the answers might be. Open up my heart like the heavens, let your word come alive in me. I don't know religion without reason. I don't want a truth I can't see. If you're the way, the truth, the life, then teach me how to listen. Teach me how to believe.
Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God.
Speak and I will follow. Lead me into truth tonight.
Good morning, Sheila. God bless you. Good to see you. Are you ready for some gospel? I know I'm running a little late this morning. I could not get out of bed. Didn't get to sleep till late. So, I've had a lot on my mind lately with reading through these scriptures. There's so much to it, man. There's so much to it. So much of it is hard to understand. But I'm working on it. So, usually regardless of how late I get to sleep, I end up at 6 in the morning, 6:30. And the wife last night, we stayed up late, and when we went to bed, she was like, you just because you wake up doesn't mean you have to get out of bed. You can go back to sleep. So I did this morning for a little while. Anyway, those are me problems. The sun is shining. I did wake up. I've been up since 4 a.m. I went to sleep about 2 hours before you got up. But again, I did wake up. I opened my eyes. I was breathing. I was able to get out of bed. So it's a good day. Let us continue on with Joshua. As soon as all the kings who were beyond the Jordan, good morning, Penelope. Great to see you. God bless you. I'm glad you're here. As soon as all the kings who were beyond the Jordan in the hill country and in the lowland, all along the coast of the great sea toward Lebanon, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites heard this, they gathered together as one to fight against Joshua and Israel. But when the inhabitants of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and to Ai, they on their part acted with cunning and went and made ready provisions and took worn-out sacks for their donkeys and wineskins, worn out and torn and mended, with worn-out patched sandals on their feet and worn-out clothes. And all their provisions were dry and crumbly. And they went to Joshua in the camp at Gilgal, and said to him and to the men of Israel, "We have come from a distant country, so now make a covenant with us." Good morning, Kenesha. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here, and God bless you. But the men of Israel said to the Hivites, "Perhaps you live among us. Then how can we make a covenant with you?" They said to Joshua, "We are your servants." And Joshua said to them, "Who are you, and where do you come from?" They said to him, "From a very distant country your servants have come, because of the name of the Lord your God. For we have heard a report of him, and all that he did in Egypt, and all that he did to the 2 kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan, to Sihon the king of Heshbon, and to Og the king of Bashan, who lived in Ashtaroth." So our elders and all the inhabitants of our country said to us, "Take provisions in your hand for the journey, and go to meet them, and say to them, 'We are your servants. Come now, make a covenant with us. Here is our bread.' It was still warm, and we took it from our houses as our food for the journey on the day we set out to come to you. But now, behold, it is dry and crumbly. These wineskins were new when we filled them." This is an interesting trick they're trying to play here. "And behold, they have burst, and these garments and sandals of ours were worn out from the very long journey." So the men took some of their provisions, but did not ask counsel from the Lord. And Joshua made peace with them and made a covenant with them to let them live, and the leaders of the congregation swore to them. At the end of 3 days, after they had made a covenant with them, they heard that they were their neighbors, and they lived among them. And the people of Israel set out, reached their cities on the 3rd day. Now the cities were Gibeon, Shephirah, Beeroth, and Kiriath Jearim. But the people of Israel did not attack them, because the leaders of the congregation had sworn to them by the Lord, the God of Israel. Then all the congregation murmured against the leaders. But all the leaders said to all the congregation, "We have sworn to them by the Lord, the God of Israel, and now we may not touch them. This we will do to them. Let them live, lest wrath be upon us, because of the oath that we swore to them." And the leaders said to them, "Let them live." So they became cutters of wood and drawers of water for all the congregation, just as the leaders had said of them. Joshua summoned them, and he said to them, "Why did you deceive us, saying, 'We are very far from you,' when you dwell among us? Now therefore you are cursed, and some of you shall never be anything but servants, cutters of wood and drawers of water for the house of my God." They answered Joshua, "Because it was told to your servants for a certainty that the Lord your God had commanded his servant Moses to give you all the land, and to destroy all the inhabitants of the land from before you." Good morning, Teo. Shalom. God bless you. I'm glad you're here. "So we feared greatly for our lives because of you, and did this thing. And now, behold, we are in your hand. Whatever seems good and right in your sight to do to us, do it." So he did this to them, and delivered them out of the hand of the people of Israel, and they did not kill them. But Joshua made them day cutters of wood and drawers of water for the congregation and for the altar of the Lord to this day, in the place that he should choose. As soon as Adoni-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, heard how Joshua had captured Ai and devoted it to destruction, doing to Ai as its king had done to Jericho and its king, and how the inhabitants of Gibeon had made peace with Israel and were among them, he feared greatly, because Gibeon was a great city, like one of the royal cities, and because it was greater than Ai, and all its men were warriors. So Adoni-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, sent to Hoham, king of Hebron, to Piram, king of Jarmuth, to Japhia, king of Lachish, and to Deber, king of Eglon, saying, Come up to me and help me, and let us strike Gibeon. For it has made peace with Joshua and with the people of Israel. Then the 5 kings of the Amorites, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon, gathered their forces and went up with all their armies and encamped against Gibeon and made war against it. And the men of Gibeon sent to Joshua at the camp in Gilgal, saying, Do not relax your hand from your servants. Come up to us quickly and save us and help us, for all the kings of the Amorites who dwell in the hill country are gathered against us. So Joshua went up from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor. And the Lord said to Joshua, Do not fear them, for I have given them into your hands. Not a man of them shall stand before you. So Joshua came upon them suddenly, having marched up all night from Gilgal. And the Lord threw them into a panic before Israel, who struck them with a great blow at Gibeon and chased them by the way of the ascent of Beth Horon, and struck them as far as Azekah and Makkedah. And as they fled before Israel, while they were going down the ascent of Beth Horon, the Lord threw down large stones from heaven on them as far as Azekah, and they died. There were more who died because of the hailstones than the sons of Israel killed with the sword. At that time Joshua spoke to the Lord in the day when the Lord gave the Amorites over to the sons of Israel, and he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand still at Gibeon, and moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, until the nation took vengeance on their enemies. Is this not written in the book of Jashar? The sun stopped in the midst of the heaven, and did not hurry to set for about a whole day. There has been no day like it before since, when the Lord heeded the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. So Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, to the camp at Gilgal. Well, that was something.
Wow.
These 5 kings fled and hid themselves in the cave at Makkedah. Sorry if I get some of these pronunciations right for any of you that are new here. I do it a lot. And Joshua said, Roll large stones against the mouth of the cave and set men by it to guard them. But do not stay there yourselves. Pursue your enemies. Attack their rear guard. Do not let them enter their cities, for the Lord your God has given them into your hand. When Joshua and the sons of Israel had finished striking them with a great blow until they were wiped out, and when the remnant that remained of them had entered into the fortified cities, then all the people returned safe to Joshua in the camp at Makkedah. Not a man moved his tongue against any of the people of Israel. Then Joshua said, Open the mouth of the cave and bring those 5 kings out to me from the cave. And they did so, and brought those 5 kings out to him from the cave, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon. And when they brought those kings out to Joshua, Joshua summoned all the men of Israel, and said to the chiefs of the men of war who had gone with him, Come near, put your feet on the necks of these kings. Then they came near and put their feet on their necks, and Joshua said to them, Do not be afraid or dismayed, be strong and courageous, for thus the Lord will do to all your enemies against whom you fight. And afterward Joshua struck them and put them to death, and he hanged them on 5 trees, and they hung on the trees until evening. But at the time of the going down of the sun, Joshua commanded, and they took them down from the trees and threw them into the cave where they had hidden themselves. And they set large stones against the mouth of the cave, which remain to this very day. I believe ancient China recorded this event where the sun stood still. I just made a note of that. I keep a notepad next to me. I made a note to check that out afterwards. That's going to be some interesting reading. I wonder what happened. The day the earth stood still? Then Joshua and all Israel with him passed on from Makkedah to Libnah, and fought against Libnah. And the Lord gave it also and its king into the hand of Israel. And he struck it with the edge of the sword, and every person in it. He left none remaining in it. And he did to its king as he had done to the king of Jericho. Then Joshua and all Israel passed on from Libnah to Lachish, and laid siege to it and fought against it. And the Lord gave Lachish into the hand of Israel. And he captured it on the second day and struck it with the edge of the sword, and every person in it, as he had done at Libnah. Then Hiram, king of Gezer, came up to help Lachish, and Joshua struck him and his people until he left none remaining. Then Joshua and all Israel with him passed on from Lachish to Eglon, and they laid siege to it and fought against it. And they captured it on that day and struck it with the edge of the sword. And he devoted every person in it to destruction that day, as he had done to Lachish. They didn't play. Then Joshua and all Israel with him went up from Eglon to Hebron, and they fought against it, and captured it, and struck it with the edge of the sword, and its king, and its towns, and every person in it. He left none remaining, as he had done to Eglon, and devoted it to destruction, and every person in it. Then Joshua and all Israel with him turned back to Debir, and fought against it, and he captured it with its king and all its towns. And they struck them with the edge of the sword, and devoted to destruction every person in it. He left none remaining. Just as he had done to Hebron, and to Libnah, and its king, so he did to Debir and its king. So Joshua struck the whole land, the hill country and the Negeb, and the lowland and the slopes, and all their kings. He left none remaining, but devoted to destruction all that breathed, just as the Lord God of Israel commanded. And Joshua struck them from Kadesh Barnea as far as Gaza, and all the country of Goshen as far as Gibeon. And Joshua captured all these kings and their land at one time, because the Lord God of Israel fought for Israel. Then Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, to the camp at Gilgal. Excuse me. Sneeze about blew my glasses off. When Jabin, king of Hazor, heard of this, he said to Jobab, king of Madon, and to the king of Shimron, and to the king of Ashaph, and to the kings who were in the northern hill country, and in the Arabah south of Chinneroth, and in the lowland, and in Naphoth Dor on the west. Verses on hang on the tree remind me of Judas when he hanged himself and his insides gushed out. I did see one distinction there. Judah hung there until he basically, without getting too gross, fell apart. And in the Old Testament, and I can't remember exactly why, they were ordered to take them down, to not leave them over, like even overnight. They were ordered to take them down by the evening. And I can't remember exactly why, but I did notice that distinction. Judah just hung there. I know there is the debate on, did Judah hang himself or did he just explode in the middle of the field? Well, obviously he was chilling on the tree until the gushy meat sack fell and splattered everywhere. I know that sounds terrible. Sorry. Okay. When Jabin, king of Hazor, heard of this, he sent Joab to king of Madon, and to the king of Shimron, and to the king of Ashaph, and to the kings who were in the northern hill country, in the Arabah south of Chinneroth, and in the lowland, and in Naphoth Dor on the west, to the Canaanites in the east and the west, the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, and the Jebusites in the hill country, and the Hivites under Hermon in the land of Mizpah. And they came out with all their troops, a great horde, in number like the sand that is on the seashore, with very many horses and chariots. And all these kings joined their forces and came and encamped together at the waters of Merom to fight against Israel. And the Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid of them, for tomorrow at this time I will give over all of them, slain, to Israel. You shall hamstring their horses and burn their chariots with fire." So Joshua and all his warriors came suddenly against them by the waters of Merom and fell upon them. And the Lord gave them into the hand of Israel, who struck them and chased them as far as great Sidon and Mishrephoth Maim, and eastward as far as the valley of Mizpah. And they struck them until he left none remaining. And Joshua did to them just as the Lord said to him. He hamstrung their horses and burned their chariots with fire. Poor horses. And Joshua turned back at that time and captured Hazor and struck its king with the sword, for Hazor formerly was the head of all those kingdoms. And they struck with the sword all who were in it, devoting them to destruction. There was none left that breathed, and he burned Hazor with fire, and all the cities of those kings and all their kings Joshua captured and struck them with the edge of the sword, devoting them to destruction, just as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded. But none of the cities that stood on mounds did Israel burn, except Hazor alone, that Joshua burned. And all the spoil of these cities and the livestock the people of Israel took for their plunder. But every person they struck with the edge of the sword until they had destroyed them, and they did not leave any who breathed. Just as the Lord commanded Moses his servant, so Moses commanded Joshua, and so Joshua did. He left nothing undone of all that the Lord had commanded Moses. So Joshua took all that land, the hill country, and all the Negeb, and all the land of Goshen, and the lowland, and the Arabah, and the hill country of Israel, and its lowland, from Mount Halak, which rises towards Seir, as far as Baal Gad in the valley of Lebanon, below Mount Hermon. And he captured all their kings, and struck them and put them to death. Joshua made war a long time with all those kings. There was not a city that made peace with the people of Israel except the Hivites, the inhabitants of Gibeon. They took them all in battle, for it was the Lord's doing to harden their hearts that they should come against Israel in battle, in order that they should be devoted to destruction and should receive no mercy, but be destroyed, just as the Lord commanded Moses. And Joshua came at that time and cut off the Anakim from the hill country, from Hebron, from Debir, from Anab, and from all the hill country of Judah, and from all the hill country of Israel. Joshua devoted them to destruction with their cities. There was none of the Anakim left in the land of the people of Israel. Only in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod did some remain. So Joseph took the whole land, according to all that the Lord had spoken to Moses, and Joshua gave it for an inheritance to Israel according to their tribal allotments. And the land had rest from war. I'd be curious on what the timeline of them. Does anyone know how long this lasted? While they were doing their house cleaning, I guess you could call it. Mount Hermon is where the gate of hell is. I am unfamiliar with that, but it sounds interesting. Doesn't sound like someplace I want to go, but it sounds like something I'd want to read about. Again, the hardening of their hearts so they would be destroyed. Well, they had to be destroyed, apparently. How you doing, Abid? Good morning, my Muslim friend. I'm glad you're here and listening. Yeah, I sort of associate this since you're here with, these were like the bigger version of the people of Ad and Talmud. Apparently they were a lost cause. Now, these are the kings of the land whom the people of Israel defeated and took possession of their land beyond the Jordan towards the sunrise, from the valley of Arnon to Mount Hermon, with all the Arabah eastward. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived at Heshbon and ruled from Aroer, I always have a hard time saying that, Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of Arnon, and from the middle of the valley as far as the river Jabbok, the boundary of the Ammonites, that is, half of Gilead, and the Arabah to the sea of Chinneroth eastward, and in the direction of Beth Jeshimoth, and the sea of Arabah, the salt sea, southward to the foot of the slopes of Pisgah, and Og, king of Bashan. Good morning, Faith. God bless you. It's good to see you. And Og, the king of Bashan, one of the remnant of the Rephaim, who lived at Ashtaroth and Edrei, and ruled over Mount Hermon and Seleka, and all Bashan to the boundary of the Geshurites, the Maacathites, and over half of Gilead to the boundary of Sihon, king of Heshbon. Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the people of Israel defeated them, and Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave their land for a possession to the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh. And these are the kings of the land whom Joshua and the people of Israel defeated on the west side of the Jordan, from Baal-Gad in the valley of Lebanon to Mount Halak, that rises towards Seir. And Joshua gave their land to the tribes of Israel as a possession according to their allotments, in the hill country, in the lowland, in the Arabah, in the slopes, in the wilderness, and in the Negeb, the land of the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. The king of Jericho, 1. The king of Ai, which is besides Bethel, 1. The king of Jerusalem, 1. The king of Hebron, 1. The king of Jarmuth, 1. The king of Lachish, 1. The king of Eglon, 1. I wonder why this isn't like a running count. The king of Gezer, 1. The king of Debir, 1. The king of Geder, 1. The king of Hormah, 1. The king of Arad, 1. The king of Libnah, 1. The king of Adullam, 1. The king of Makkedah, 1. The king of Bethel, 1. This is a lot of ones. The king of Tappuah, 1. The king of Hepher, 1. The king of Aphek, 1. The king of Lasharon, 1. The king of Madon, 1. Good morning, D. God bless you. Good to see you here. I'm glad you're here. The king of Tanakh, 1. The king of Megiddo, 1. The king of Kadesh, 1. The king of Jokneam in Carmel, 1. The king of Dor in Naphoth Dor, 1. The king of Goim in Galilee, 1. The king of Tirzah, 1. In all, 31 kings. Joshua got down. Now Joshua was old and advanced in years, so this did take a very long time, because Joshua was pretty young when this started, I believe. And the Lord said to him, "You are old and advanced in years, and there remains yet very much land to possess. This is the land that yet remains, all the regions of the Philistines, and all those of the Geshurites, from the Shihor, which is east of Egypt, northward to the boundary of Ekron. It counted as Canaanite. There are 5 rulers of the Philistines, those of Gaza, Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron, and those of the Avim in the south, all the land of the Canaanites, and Mira that belongs to the Sidonians, to Aphek, to the boundary of the Amorites, and the land of the Gebalites, and all Lebanon, toward the sunrise from Baal-Gad, below Mount Hermon, to Lebo Hamath. All the inhabitants of the hill country from Lebanon to Mishrethoth Maim, even all the Sidonians, I myself will drive them out before the people of Israel. Only allot the land to Israel for an inheritance, as I have commanded you. Now, therefore, divide this land for an inheritance to the 9 tribes and the half-tribe of Manasseh. With the other half of the tribe of Manasseh, the Reubenites and the Gadites, with the other half-tribe of Manasseh, the Reubenites and the Gadites received their inheritance, which Moses gave them beyond the Jordan eastward, as Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave them, from Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of Arnon, and the city that is in the middle of the valley, and all the tableland of Medeba as far as Dibon, and all the cities of Sihon the king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon as far as the boundary of the Ammonites, and Gilead, and the region of the Geshurites, and the Maacathites, and all Mount Hermon, and all Bashan to Salakah, and all the kingdom of Og in Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth and in Edrei. He alone was left of the remnant of the Rephaim. These Moses had struck and driven out. Yet the people of Israel did not drive out the Geshurites or the Maacathites, but Geshur and Maacath dwell in the midst of Israel to this day. To the tribe of Levi alone Moses gave no inheritance. The offerings by fire to the Lord God of Israel are their inheritance, as he said to them. And Moses gave an inheritance. I'm going to sneeze again. Give me just a second. Whew. Sneezes are so violent. Good morning, Stevie. God bless, brother. Good to see you, man. I hope you're enjoying your Sunday so far. Hopefully you're off work for a change. And Moses gave an inheritance to the tribe of the people of Reuben, according to their clans. Thank you. So their territory was from Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of Arnon, and the city that is in the middle of the valley, and all the tableland by Medeba, with Heshbon and all its cities that are in the tableland, Dibon, and Bamoth Baal, and Beth Baal Meon, and Jahaz, and Kedemoth, and Mephath, and Kiriathaim, and Sibmah. Waiting on this bad weather tomorrow? I hadn't seen anything about it. I try not to watch. I'm in the Midwest. I'm in Indiana, so I honestly try not to look at the weather forecast too much because they seem to change by the hour. I, as a Muslim, affirm all the actions done in the OT except for a few things the Quran corrects or the Quran got wrong because they misunderstood the stories. When I bring up things like that, I just mean to remind you that you had contended looking into Islam. Yes, 100%. Yeah, I'm very open about the fact that I've read almost through reading the Quran, like 7/8 through reading the Quran. And I've looked at all other religions. I think the contention, as far as that goes, comes from when I read through the Quran. I found problems while I was reading through it. And some people have issue with that. Let's not argue. Let's not go down that road this morning. Abid, you should come up one time. We should do a stream. You should come up and we should talk about this because you have been around since early in my kind of journey down this road. So I would be glad to talk to you about it sometime. I think I've been pretty honest about, I haven't wanted to bash anything, but I have pointed out where I've, run into some issues with what's in the Quran. But believe me, I haven't brought everything up. There's a good book to look at called Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus by Nabil Qureshi. It brings you truth of Jesus in the Bible. But yeah, I do believe, I think that there kind of has to be some wisdom in all the ancient religions. You know what I mean? I've always thought that. I wanted to read the Quran before I started reading the Bible because I was interested in what I might find there, what gems. And I will be honest, and no offense, Abid, but I didn't find anything in there. I actually found much less than I expected to find. Oh, this Finding Jesus by Nabil Qureshi. So that was the Quran just didn't hold truth for me. I'm glad that I've read it. I'm glad that I've talked to so many Muslims while I was doing it. It gave me a fairly good understanding of just the breadth of Muslims alone. I think there is as much differences between Muslims as there are Christians. There's a lot of contradictions, but that's for another video. Yeah, and I have honestly, okay, let's take a short little intercession here. When I started doing this, the title of my channel was Finding My God. But, and that's exactly what I was doing. I was looking for my direction. I was trying to nail down who my God was. And I started reading through the Quran. And I had a lot of Muslim people hanging out, and everything was brother this and brother that, until I started finding issues. And then I got that's not the real Quran because it's not in Aramaic or whatever. It's an English translation, and no, you're wrong. That's not what that means. And et cetera, et cetera. The mood definitely changed. And there's only a couple left once I said, Quran is not the way for me. But the comment section on my videos just got nasty between Muslims and Christians and atheists all arguing with each other, that I just pulled all the videos down and switched. I have a personal channel that I've had for a long time that I did my gaming on, and I just kind of started doing some content over there. And then I came back. This was after I changed to the skeptical disciple, and then I came back to this channel because it's more focused, and started again. I wanted to purge all that stuff because I didn't want my channel. I want to build a community, and I don't want that to be about arguing with Muslims. You know what I mean? I think we have enough of that out there. I didn't want that to be the focus of my channel. I want the focus of my channel to be learning about God as much as we can. It's following my own personal journey, and my own personal journey, at least at this point, is not to be a warrior against Islam or something like that. Yeah, that would be great. I do need to do some panels, but I do like just reading the words, since, that's where I'm at on this journey, is just reading and learning the word. But yeah, I would love to have some conversations. I really would. So I'll set that up. Let me see if this works. This should work. I've had a Discord that I've set up. Oh, and it didn't work. I'll share a link to it. I haven't done much with it, so I did want to start sharing it with you guys. Let me get an invite link for anyone who is interested. No, I'll do, as far as that stuff goes, I'll do it here on YouTube. But as far as hold on, let me do this. I'm working through it here. As far as talking about doing these streams, hold on. Invite to, here we go. Never expire. Generate a new link. Yeah, I don't think, and I have never, I have some other stories. We'll get into all that stuff another time. I do not want responsibility for taking someone's faith from them. You know what I mean? I mean, I know we are supposed to minister and share God's word and try to bring people into the fold, but I'm not about, I think if you're going to do that, I don't think just the criticism of any religion, Islam or any other, I think if you're going to take someone's faith from them, you need something solid to replace it with. I think it's our responsibility. You don't want to just leave them empty. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's for me, I guess, I'll say. All right, let's get back into these scriptures. And to those here just to hear the word, sorry about that distraction, but a big part of this is the conversations. And Moses gave an inheritance to the tribe of the people of Reuben, according to their clans. So their territory was from Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of Arnon, and the city that is in the middle of the valley, and all the tableland by Medba, with Heshbon, and all its cities that are in the tableland, Dibon, and Bamoth Baal, and Beth Baal Meon, and Jahaz, and Kedemoth, and Mephath, and Kiriathaim, and Sibmah, and Zareth Shahar on the hill of the valley, and Beth Peor, and the slopes of Pisgah, and Beth Jeshemoth. Well, it will grow your channel. That is not the motivation for this. No, I want my channel to be about my journey and learning about God. I don't think about what will bring me views. Believe me, I've had the thoughts pass through my mind. If I did this, that would be interesting. You know, that would bring new people in. And I do want to bring new people in, but I want it to be genuine on why they come here. I would love to have, 50,000 subscribers and all that, but that's not why I'm here. So I try to be very careful in making a distinction or policing myself to make sure that my motivation remains genuine, that it remains righteous. You can keep it if you're the one that controls it, though how you set up rules, and I would definitely say you should get a couple mods. No, we have to, right, yeah. It's something we'll get into. No, I agree, and we should listen to everyone. Everyone should be able to speak until they can't do so respectfully anyway. When these things turn personal and all that, that's when I think the pause button needs to be hit. But people get hot, man. We know how hot people get about religion, about their belief, about their faith, but it's serious business. No, you don't need to be forgiven. There's nothing to be forgiven about. No, I would like that. Honestly, I'm not when it comes to this is another problem that I have with this, is I am still very much a student. I've done a good bit of studying at this time, but I'm very much a student. So I'm no one to really debate. You know what I mean? As far as getting into the debate scene. Yeah, so it's just something I'm not sure of. I'll listen to my heart when it's time for that. I think God will let me know. And I do like to debate sometime. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy it. I enjoy conversation. But I enjoy debate for gain for everyone. For gain, for understanding, to get questions answered, stuff like that. So, I don't know. Who knows where we'll go? But I will 100% keep it genuine. Right, yeah. It's just, we see, when it comes to Islam, it is hard to keep everybody calm. You know what I mean? It is hard to keep everybody calm. Okay, back over here in these scriptures. That is all the cities of the tableland and all the kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, whom Moses defeated with the leaders of Midian, Evi, and Rechem, and Zur, and Hur, and Reba, the princes of Sihon, who lived in the land. Balaam also, the son of Beor, the one who practiced divination, was killed with the sword by the people of Israel among the rest of their slain. And the border of the people of Reuben was the Jordan as a boundary. This was the inheritance of the people of Reuben, according to their clans, with their cities and villages. There is one that I really want to do. It's something that has been in my head for the past couple days. It's something that I've lost sleep over because I can't work it out. And I've gotten with mentors, and they haven't really been able to work it out successfully either. But it is kind of a sensitive thing. So, but I do want to have, I'll get it together and bring a good few people on. But there are places that I'm finding in the Old Testament where it seems like one of the attributes of our God is, or a couple of them are, indifference or cruelty in a few places. And that's just something that I'm having trouble rectifying in my mind with, the way that we think of God, our Father. Just reading scriptures right here, right now is awesome. Thank you. So that is something that I want to get into and have a meeting of minds about. But again, that's for another day. Okay. We reigned in Heshbon, whom Moses defeated with the leaders of Midian, Evi. We read through that. This was the inheritance of the people of Reuben, according to their clans and with their cities and villages. Moses gave an inheritance also to the tribe of Gad, to the people of Gad, according to their clans. Their territory was Jazer, and all the cities of Gilead, and half the land of the Amorites, to Aroer, which is east of Rabbah, and from Heshbon to Ramoth, Mizpah, and Bedonim, and from Mahanaim to the territory of Debir, and in the valley, Beth Haram, Beth Nimrah, Succoth, and Zaphon, and the rest of the kingdom of Sihon, king of Heshbon, having the Jordan as a boundary to the lower end of the sea of Chinnereth, eastward beyond the Jordan. This is the inheritance of the people of Gad, according to their clans. I would love to find like a big map that shows all of these places and sort of tracks, what Moses did and what Joshua did. That would be cool. And Moses gave an inheritance to the half tribe of Manasseh, It was allotted to the half tribe of the people of Manasseh according to their clans. Their region extended from Mahanaim all through all Bashan, the whole kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, and all the towns of Jair, which are in Bashan, 60 cities, and half Gilead, and Ashtaroth, and Edrei, the cities of the kingdom of Og in Bashan. These were allotted to the people of Machir, the son of Manasseh, for the half of the people of Machir according to their clans. These are the inheritance that Moses distributed in the plains of Moab, beyond the Jordan, east of Jericho. But to the tribe of Levi, Moses gave no inheritance. The Lord God of Israel is their inheritance, just as he said to them. Check up on Mount Hermon as the gate of hell in Caesarea Philippi. I am definitely going to check that out, man. These are the inheritances of the people of Israel that the people of Israel received in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun and the heads of the fathers' houses of the tribes of the people of Israel gave them to inherit. Their inheritance was by lot, just as the Lord had commanded by the hand of Moses, for the 9 1/2 tribes. For Moses had given an inheritance to the 2 1/2 tribes beyond the Jordan, but to the Levites he gave no inheritance among them. For the people of Joseph were 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim, and no portion was given to the Levites in the land, but only cities to dwell in, with their pasture lands for their livestock and their substance. The people of Israel did as the Lord commanded Moses. They allotted the land. Then the people of Judah came to Joshua at Gilgal, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, said to him, "You know what the Lord said to Moses, the man of God, in Kadesh Barnea concerning you and me. I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land, and I brought him word again, as it was in my heart. But my brothers who went up with me made the heart of the people melt. Yet I wholly followed the Lord my God. And Moses swore on that day, saying, Surely the land on which your foot is trodden shall be an inheritance for you and your children forever, because you have wholly followed the Lord my God. And now, behold, the Lord has kept me alive, just as he said, these 45 years since the time that the Lord spoke this word to Moses, while Israel walked in the wilderness. And now, behold, I am this day 85 years old. Caleb, meaning in Hebrew, is dog. I am still as strong today as I was in the day that Moses sent me. My strength now is as my strength was then, for war and for going and coming. So now give me this hill country of which the Lord spoke on that day, for you heard on that day how the Anakim were there, with great fortified cities. It may be that the Lord will be with me, and I shall drive them out, just as the Lord said." Then Joshua blessed him, and he gave Hebron to Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, for an inheritance. Therefore Hebron became the inheritance of Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, to this day, because he wholly followed the Lord, the God of Israel. Now the name of Hebron formerly was Kiriath Arba. Arba was the greatest man among the Anakim, and the land had rest from war. And on that note, I am going to get out of here and spend the rest of the day hanging out with the wife, who was off. It was her birthday yesterday. We had a wonderful day of just hanging out together. Her only request was I make her homemade burritos, so we're about to have burritos again for lunch. I really appreciate you all hanging out with me, discussing with me, being cool with each other, not arguing with each other. I really appreciate it. It makes the rest of my day better. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and God bless you all. I wish you nothing but the best, and I will see you next time.
Oh. I've been walking through the noise, chasing every echoed voice, every answer fading like the dawn. I was reaching for the sky with 1,000 reasons why, but my heart was still so far from home. Every road I tried to pave only led me to the same old place, where my questions fill the air like rain. So I fell down to my knees, whispered through the quiet breeze, are you there? Will you explain? If you're the Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end, then you see the doubts inside me and the places I won't bend. So I'm coming to you, God, with my questions, not afraid of what the answers might be. Open up my heart like the heavens, let your word come alive in me. I don't want religion without reason. I don't want a truth I can't see. If you're the way, the truth, the life, then teach me how to listen. Teach me how to believe.
Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God.
Speak and I